Live from the Charleston Coliseum in the state capital, West Virginia, it's the evening session of Day 2 of the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. It's an Eastern Panhandle matchup tonight as the top seed in Class 4A, Spring Mills, takes on number 8, Martinsburg, in a game that is being played for the third time this season. Today's live streaming coverage of the 2025 West Virginia Basketball Tournament is being presented to you by your local Little General stores. Great price, convenient places, your local Little General stores. Alongside Andrew Miller, my name is Eric Little. Thank you for joining us courtside from the Charleston Coliseum and Civic Center. It's been a pleasure to be with you here this evening. Andrew, you got this matchup of these two teams that are very familiar with one another, not just in basketball. When you've got a rivalry that has teams that are this close, schools that are this close, just an exit or two up and down I-81, you know these guys know each other off the court.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Spring Mills is a production of a combination of some Martinsburg and some Edgesville students that came together in 2013. It's been a meteoric rise for the number 1 seed who came in last year for the first time ever as the 1 seed and made it all the way to the championship in overtime, losing to Morgantown. Their only loss this year to Morgantown. Meanwhile, when you look at Martinsburg, kind of an enigma. They started off their season at 10-2, just 2 of their last 7 games in the win column. But they won the one that counted.
Yeah.
That was the one against Washington. And here's the deal. These two teams have played twice in the regular season. They had to travel 4 hours away to do it again.
Right, they're about 10-15 minutes apart if you're driving, depending on what kind of traffic is this time. Well, this time of day, it's going to be pretty busy traffic out on I-81. But, you know, as the crow flies, these are only a few miles apart. It's practically the same community. These two teams have met twice before this season. Spring Mills comes in at 21-1. As Andrew said, their only loss was to Morgantown, but they're 2-0 against Martinsburg this season. 60-37 winners on January 24th, 61-45 the final on Valentine's Day. So, Andrew, I ask you this. How hard will it be for Spring Mills to complete the trifecta tonight?
Well, we always say it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. The problem with that is Spring Mills brings back all 5 of their starters from last year's championship team when they were in the championship. Martinsburg is going to have to keep this a low-scoring affair. This is the 3rd best offense and 3rd best defense in Class Quad A in the Spring Mills Cardinals. So Martinsburg's got a tough task. Got to keep this a low-scoring affair, though.
Martinsburg's in the state tournament for the first time in 4 years, and they're not coming in at a great place. They've lost 4 of their last 5, or they lost 5 of the last 7, but 4 of those 5 losses have come to state tournament teams. So for the Bulldogs, like you said, keep it low. And you got to hope that iron sharpens iron. You've got something from losing to these teams that are of state tournament caliber.
Well, familiarity is an important thing for both teams. Martinsburg knows what didn't work and what may have worked in those first 2 contests. Plus, you can't count out a veteran like Dave Rogers. 41 years at the helm of this Martinsburg program, 3 state titles.
3 state titles for a team that's won 10 of their first 12 games this season. And though they come into the state tournament from a place that's not as high as they'd like to be, they come in with some inspiration. I know they've got Coach Basie's name on the back of their shooting shirts.
Yeah, Marcellus Basie from over in Martinsburg. What a great player he was at WVU. And just a big honor for him, obviously. I know that community really wants to get behind his family.
So Martinsburg at 12-7, Spring Mills at 21-1. We'll have the intros of the tip-off after this. You're watching the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. Welcome back to the Charleston Coliseum. We're about to tip Game 1 of this 3-game evening session. Had some really good ones this afternoon and hope to duplicate the feat tonight. For the intros, let's kick it across the way to the public address announcer of this matchup between Spring Mills and Martinsburg, Alan McVeigh, sitting in the PAC tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center for the 2025 West Virginia High School Boys Basketball Championships presented by Chick-fil-A. The WVSSAC reminds you that interscholastic events are an extension of the classroom and that lessons are best learned when proper respect is accorded to all. So please let your good sportsmanship show during this evening's game. This is a championship contest between the Quad 4A Spring Mills Cardinals and the Martinsburg Bulldogs. And now for the introduction of the teams. For Spring Mills, their head coach, Shannon Layton, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's head coach, Dave Rogers. The Cardinals' assistant coaches, Jalen Hesson and Andrew Edmondson, will meet at half court with the Bulldogs' assistant coaches, Marcellus Basie, Kip Shallis, and Jaden Jackson. And the support staff for Spring Mills, Nate Carey, Trayvon Bowe, Leland Regent will meet at half court with Martinsburg's support staff, Butch Custer and Dawson Harris. And now for your players. The Cardinals, number 15, Max Anderson, meeting at half court with the Bulldogs, number 3, Braden Harrison. Spring Mills, number 4, Tyler Jones, meeting at half court with Martinsburg's number 4, Garrett Height. Spring Mills, number 13, Hope Buckway, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's number 10, Cody Shallis. Spring Mills, number 22, Alex Collins, will meet with the Bulldogs, number 12, Nykeem Thompson. Cardinals, number 23, Chase Jones, will meet at half court with the Bulldogs, number 13, Jay-Sean Dirting. Spring Mills, number 5, Jason Jones, will meet with Martinsburg's number 14, Kobe Walker. Spring Mills, number 1, Mark Hunter, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's number 15, Braden Amsler. Cardinals, number 12, Zane Whiff, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's number 20, Elisha Bouquet. Spring Mills, number 14, Robert Livingston, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's number 22, Carryon Adams. Spring Mills, number 21, Isaiah Wang, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's number 23, Zion Stanley. And your starting lineups for this game. Spring Mills 6'2", senior number 0, Chase Shipley, will meet at half court with Martinsburg 6'3", senior number 0, Kyrie Bunny. Spring Mills 5'11", junior number 2, Akwasi Opoku Uchaman, will meet at half court with Martinsburg 6'5", senior number 5, Anthony Owuna. Spring Mills 6'7", junior number 10, Xavier Anderson, will meet at half court with Martinsburg's 6-foot freshman number 11, Kevin Myers. Spring Mills 6'5", senior number 11, Lokai Uth Smith, will meet at half court with Martinsburg 6-foot senior number 2, Kayshawn Cheek. And who do I have left? And Spring Mills 6'7", senior number 3, Caleb Thomas, will meet with, I think, Martinsburg 6'5", senior number 5, Anthony Wuna. Excuse me, number 1, 6'7", senior, Zion Ajamandua. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you assist us in honoring America for the presentation of the National Colors by Parkersburg South Air Force Junior ROTC number 781. The American flag is being carried tonight by Cadet Colonel Julia Ackland. Our West Virginia flag is being carried by Cadet Chief Master Sergeant Daniel Burns. At right guard is Cadet Chief Master Sergeant Ty Rhodes. And at left guard, Cadet Master Sergeant Joseph Graham. Singing our national anthem and hailing from Nicholas County High School tonight, Eliana Height, Zoe Meadows, Natalie Brooks, and Brittany Neal.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare. The bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The top seed in Class 4A. Spring Mills brings Chase Shipley, Akwesi, Apoku Achampong, Caleb Thomas, Xavier Anderson, and Loke Uth Smith against number 8 Martinsburg with Kyrie Bunny, Zion Agamandua, Keyshawn Cheek, Anthony Awuna, and Kevin Myers. Opening tip coming here from the Charleston Coliseum. Welcome back. Game 1 of the evening session, a 3-game session. The tip is controlled by Spring Mills, and away we go.
Right off the bat, the Cardinals are going to look to score quickly, and often the third best offense in the state in Quad A at 67+ a game.
They get into the lane. Thomas comes out front. Xavier Anderson shovels it to the wing. Shipley with space drives the left hand off the iron. It's short, pulled down by Apoku Achampong. And Spring Mills with a reset. Again, these two teams played twice this year. Spring Mills 2-0. Against the Martinsburg Bulldogs. They get it inside. Nice feed from Uth Smith. And the shot doesn't fall for Anderson. Neither does the second chance.
Well, 2 opportunities that time. The tip by Apoku Achampong missing a little bit long. But good opportunities to score right off the bat for Spring Mills. For a second, I thought Martinsburg was going to speed it up, and that was against what I said. I thought they're going to have to slow this game down. And they took off running, but they are in a half-court set now.
They kind of deny themselves that fast break opportunity to come out front. Keyshawn Cheek gets a ball screen, left wing, finds Kyrie Bunny off the dribble. Here's Bunny, hook shot, and Kyrie Bunny with the old school hook shot. How about that?
Oh, a great touch that time by Bunny in the lane.
And Martinsburg grabs a quick lead. Spring Mills looking to answer. Talked about that scoring offense. Third best scoring defense in the classification as well. Thomas off the dribble. Ties it up off the window.
Well, he's one of the best-looking guards I've seen down here at the state tournament. 6'7", long and lanky, showing that he can get to the lane and get to the rim and finish strong as well.
And he's a senior, so he's got that veteran presence on the floor, too. 3 games down here last year. Tied up early on between Martinsburg and Spring Mills. The top-seeded Cardinals, the 8th-seeded Martinsburg Bulldogs. Winner moves on to the semis Friday morning against either Spring Valley or Woodrow Wilson. We'll see them at 9 o'clock tonight. Turnaround jumper in the lane doesn't go. Agamandua follows his shot and scores it out the window.
Great persistence on the putback. Saw that it was going to be a little short, attacked the rebound, and finished.
Shipley into the front court. Shovels it ahead. Anderson dumps it to the corner. We'll see if the Cardinals go from outside. They don't. It's tipped out of bounds. It stays with Spring Mills.
Well, Eric, what you can see early on in the half-court set is Martinsburg putting a little backcourt pressure, zone look to try to keep the Spring Mills Cardinals in front of them, keep them running a little slower than they'd like.
Loke Uth Smith triggers the inbound. Apoku Achampong out front. There's Anderson. He in the purple shoes, easy to pick out. Around the top of the key, Thomas goes into the corner. Shipley drives in space through two defenders. Chase Shipley parts the Red Sea and scores.
Well, I think Keyshawn Cheek may have injured himself right before that drive. You could see he basically pulled up.
You are correct.
And at that point, he had a wide open look to the lane by Shipley. And I didn't see what happened on the initial, but you can see not looking well here is Keyshawn Cheek.
He's not putting a lot of weight on the left leg. And so he's coming off the floor. You hate to see that at a state tournament for the senior Keyshawn Cheek. See if we see anything here. He's number 2 in the lane. It looks good now.
I just rolled the ankle a little bit.
Garrett Height comes on to replace him, a fellow senior. They give up a little bit in size. Height drives, bounce pass inside. Awuna creating a look, and Awuna scores to put Martinsburg up 6-4. Bulldogs early on matching punch for punch.
Hey, 2 soft little baby hooks in the lane. I like to see Martinsburg getting into the lane against the size of Spring Mills.
Anderson thought about the 3. We've yet to see the Cardinals pop on a 3. Pass tipped out front. Kyrie Bunny almost got to it. On the other end, the hook doesn't fall from Shipley. The tip back came after the foul call. A lot of contact on the floor. Anthony Awuna picks up the foul as they unpile the people from the lane.
Now, Thomas attacking that loose ball rebound got undercut, but that's not where the foul was. The foul was on the drive and shot attempt. Little body contact after the shot went up.
Chase Shipley, the senior, knocks down a free throw for a Spring Mills team that's been playing with interim leadership. Shannon Layton on the sidelines. He has coached the last 9 games. They're 9-0 in that time. He's the interim coach while Luke Samples is on administrative leave. Layton also coached this team earlier this year against Parkersburg South, the second game of the season. So it's not an unfamiliar role for him to be in, though they would like to have their leader on the sideline. These Spring Mills guys know they have a familiar face there and a familiar voice in the huddle, and then there you saw the veteran Dave Rogers.
Of course, that's number 1 and 2 is you got some consistency for Spring Mills, but again, it's about the kids. They were here last year. They made it into the finals, so they're comfortable no matter who's leading them. They know what they're about and what they're able to do.
Keyshawn Cheek off the dribble. Good to see him back in the game. Rejected. On the other end, they try to float it into Loke Smith. Stepped out of bounds.
Well, nice play in transition defense for Ajimandua.
We're tied at 6, halfway home in the first quarter. Back for more after this from the Charleston Coliseum. This is the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. From the Charleston Coliseum, we're tied at 6. Halfway home in the first quarter between Spring Mills and Martinsburg. Bit of a feeling out period between these two schools that know each other well.
Yeah, you know, you think you've played each other twice, you know each other well, but when that happens, you are able to plan for each other a little bit better each time. I think Martinsburg knows what they have to do, and that has to be a slowed down tempo in this contest. Meanwhile, Spring Mills, they just want to work the ball around and get some wide open lanes to drive and dish, or drive and finish.
Shipley lobs under the basket. There's that wide open lane. Xavier Anderson in the back door, putting Spring Mills out in front. On the other end, Martinsburg answers quickly. Awuna can't get it to fall. They get it back to him, and Awuna scores off the window.
Well, an extra pass that time by Cheek to get open his teammate. That was a beautiful play.
So Martinsburg not looking like the team that came in with no momentum. They lost 5 of the last 7, whereas Spring Mills comes in on an 8-game winning streak. Offline from beyond the arc. They get another look at this from the corner. Lokai Smith, they come out front. Caleb Thomas, dish to the corner. Around the wing, here's Smith, floater with a left hand. I love that look. You get in through contact and you shove it off the window.
That was a beautiful Euro step move as well. Kind of gather himself before he took that up lefty.
You're starting to see guys get in the lane and take those high percentage shots. Use that glass. And a steal. Xavier Anderson, nice find. Smith pops in the lane and it doesn't fall. Anderson rips it down, and a hook shot falls for Anderson. Spring Mills grows the lead to 4.
Well, he talked about his prowess on the football field, showed a little bit of toughness that time. muscling that one up against some contact.
Yeah, Xavier Anderson was a defensive end in football. Imagine him as an edge rusher. He's long, he's lanky, he's fast, he's a quarterback's worst nightmare. And oh, by the way, he can muscle himself around in the paint pretty well, too.
Absolutely. Last couple of possessions, though, Spring Mills getting on the offensive boards, Eric. That's big for them, and that's tough for Martinsburg. Martinsburg's going to have to be kind of one and done defensively if they want to stay in this ball game.
Spring Mills is at 5 of the last 7 from the field. Martinsburg trying to get back to within a bucket. Keshawn Cheek, after an early injury, dishes to the top. Here's Kevin Myers to the baseline. They swing it out front. Agamandua stops and pops and nails the 3. 1 point ball game.
6'7" center stepping out behind the three-point line, showing some nice touch outside.
Martinsburg's got a heritage of big men who can shoot.
Yep.
Mr. Pitznagel would be proud. He had a foul underneath. This is on Kyrie Bunny, the athletic 6'4" senior.
Yeah, when you become a verb, when your last name becomes a verb, you know how to shoot the basketball.
You might be on some golden horseshoe tests. Should be, at least.
Yeah. Well, you talked about Spring Mills, 5 of their last 7. Meanwhile, Martinsburg, 4 for their last 5 opportunities.
Anderson strong. Free throw shooting was very big earlier in another Quad A quarterfinal. Martinsburg was a 9-point win over Parkersburg South, but they missed a ton of free throws in that game.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that's it was a close game throughout. It was a 1-point game, in fact, going into the fourth quarter.
Right.
But just too much at the end for Morgantown. They were able to finish it off.
Yeah.
And again, Parkersburg South went really cold. 1 of their last 11 in that fourth quarter just killed them.
Did not shoot the rock well back half the fourth quarter. And as a result, Morgantown's free throw shooting was not the Achilles heel it could have been. How about Owona exploding to the basket?
Liking the way the Bulldogs are getting to the paint and finishing at the paint.
13 all, final minute of the first quarter in this Class 4A quarterfinal. Space for Thomas, dishing. Off the bench, Max Anderson goes underneath. It's out of bounds, and it stays with Spring Mills.
Well, fortunate for the Cardinals that time that the ball ricocheted off the Bulldog. I think Thomas was turning away to look for the rebound.
Off the dribble, a handoff. Now a dish back out front. They go to the wing. Nice look for Anderson. Sets a screen. The 3. Akwesi Apoku Achampong on a good ball screen.
Yeah, love the way Anderson did that. The no-look dish and stepped right in front of the defender.
That's a facilitator. This is a steal. Lokai Uth Smith to the rack, and he can't finish. Tipped out and won by Garrett Height. Martinsburg in transition. Final moments of the first quarter. Cardinals by 3.
Again, they'll pull back and set up for a good final shot opportunity.
Off the dribble, Sheik almost lost his footing. Puts it up strong. They fight for it in the paint. No time for the full court heave. And after one, Spring Mills has a 16-13 lead in the third meeting of these Eastern Panhandle foes this season. Second quarter in a moment. This is the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. Spring Mills, the top seed in Class 4A, holds a 16-13 lead over Martinsburg. Eric Little, Andrew Miller here courtside. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the first quarter, jumping off the stat sheet?
Well, right away, points in the paint, 10 apiece. Love the way Martinsburg got into the lane, finished nicely. And again, Spring Mills, they're designed to do that. But both teams able to hit a 3 in the first. And one other thing I really like is 3 total turnovers for Martinsburg, none for Spring Mills. Clean game.
I was going to say a goose egg in that Spring Mills category there, and they've taken advantage of those 3 Martinsburg turnovers with 4 points off those turnovers. Off the miss. Rebound ripped down by Apoku Achampong.
Just remember the all-name team. And back to Obina Enochile Kilden.
Xavier Anderson with the finish at the window. Spring Mills grows their lead to 5, biggest it's been all evening. When I did the Spring Mills Parkersburg South game on the radio in December, I actually had Apoku Achampong's English teacher reach out to me with the correct pronunciation.
Make sure you get that there. There's 2, by the way, for the big 6'7" center, Ajamandua.
Yeah, another 3 there for Ajamandua.
He's got 8 early.
And this is a 2-point ball game. Anderson motioning the offense around. Caleb Thomas turns the corner, stops, comes inside, is swatted, flings it out front. They work it out to Anderson. A drive, dish. Thomas can't finish, the putback goes, and the lead swells back to 4 for Spring Mills.
Boy, such athleticism from Thomas. He came down for that first jump and got right back up for the putback.
Martinsburg hanging in there blow for blow. You have to like how they're able to show that fight.
Absolutely, and want to stay close, at least in this first half, give themselves maybe a little more confidence.
In a game where they've lost twice by 15 or more in both meetings, these Martinsburg Bulldogs know the value of keeping it close. Bunny called with the travel. Kyrie Bunny had a pretty good football season for this Martinsburg Bulldog team. Some state recognition for him.
Well, that Eastern Panhandle is just loaded with football talent. Martinsburg, by the way.
I think we're seeing the shift of the pendulum. It's already happened in Class 4A toward that Eastern Panhandle, really in all sports. Started with football. We're seeing it more in basketball now. You see it in baseball. You see it in track. You see it in volleyball. You see it in everything.
Yeah, I've seen Musselman down here for a couple of years. The boys' tournaments. Spring Mills in their second straight #1 seed. And Martinsburg back after a 4-year hiatus.
Space on the baseline for Anderson. He's swatted at the cup. Agamandua got it, but ball squirts loose to Thomas, and he scores off the window. And this is all of a sudden a 6-point game, the biggest lead Spring Mills has had. Martinsburg's got to get some stops.
Yeah, the issue becomes those offensive rebounds for Spring Mills. They're getting to the paint real quick. They've got 7-0 rebounds to just 2 defensive boards for Martinsburg. You can't give them that many open looks.
Keshawn Cheek looking for some space. Splits 2 defenders, drives, kicks. Kevin Myers stops, turns, reverses. Strong. Myers rips it away, and the putback falls for Kevin Myers. He muscled that away from Apoku Achampong.
Just persistent.
On the other end, Spring Mills slows things down. Ooh, Smith comes inside, and an offensive foul called. The charge taken by Agamandua, and the foul whistled against Xavier Anderson.
Well, what a first quarter and a first half of play right now for Agamandua. He's got 8 points. He hasn't missed a shot, by the way. 2 for 2 from 3, 3 for 3 overall. Couple rebounds, and he's got a blocked shot and now a charge taken.
Those are the stats that don't show up in a lot of stat sheets, but the coaches are keeping track of those things. Keshawn Cheek stops and pops. A little short. That crucial rebound. Myers outside. Agamandua. Hello.
3 for 3 for the center. That'll stretch a defense.
Halfway home in the second quarter, Agamandua is heating up.
Leads all scores. He's got 11.
Spring Mills looking to grow their lead beyond 1. The senior Caleb Thomas finds Shipley. Room for Shipley. A drive. The hook rejected. Bunny takes it away. He's got a man ahead of the play. It's Agamandua. Who else? Turning right, and a travel forced by the defensive Xavier Anderson. Now things starting to get a little chippy. The intensity picking up. It's a 1-point game halfway through the first half. Martinsburg. And again, the story from Martinsburg has been Zion Agamandua leading all scorers tonight with 11 points.
3 of 3 from behind the line. Total of 4 for 4. He hasn't missed. No problems adjusting to the shooting here at the Coliseum Convention Center.
On the Cracker Barrel peg game, he's the guy who only left the 1 peg. He's not playing ignoramus. Shipley rejected. Martinsburg can take a lead this trip.
A couple big plays defensively in the last few series here for Kevin Myers.
Yeah, his stuff is not going to show up in the stat sheet, but he has made some contributions. The lead on the Anthony Awuna tray on a dish from from Kevin Myers.
That one didn't get off the ground very far. That was pretty much a line drive, but hey, they don't ask you how, they just ask you if it went in.
I didn't think that had the trajectory to fall, but it did. We're not paid to think. It's out of bounds, and Martinsburg gets it back in with a 2-point lead.
All right, now an 8-0 run in favor of Martinsburg in the last 145. Spring Mills is silent for the last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that was that Awuna tray. That was I know it's baseball season just about. That was it. That was as line drive gets. Maybe the biggest line drive on a three I've seen all year all season at any level.
Luckily he's 6'5", so he had a little bit of range up top there.
Certainly takes the angle of attack away. Dua rejected at the cup. Good defensive play by Anderson. Can Spring Mills turn defense into offense? Thomas does that. We're tied. 24 all. Just over 2 to play in the second.
Such a hard guard once he gets a head of steam going. He can navigate. He can move side to side with a full head of steam.
Some reinforcements for Spring Mills. Tyler Jones, one of them. But really, neither one of these teams, Andrew's gone deep into their bench. Are you surprised to see that?
I'm a little bit surprised to see that early on. But, hey, the first game, they've got plenty of energy.
Bunny pulls up. Long on the jumper. Back to the cup. They miss a second try. That one from Cheek. You look at that a couple ways. They're fresh, but at the same time, you'd like to give everybody that touch, you know?
Boy, tons of contact.
A floor foul as basically Xavier Anderson came through like a wrecking ball. Two guys left in his wake.
Yeah, that foul on Dua, he lost his footing on the way down and basically just grabbed a hold of Xavier Anderson, who then pummeled into another Martinsburg player.
We have a timeout on the floor. 24 all, second quarter. Stoppage on the floor from the Charleston Coliseum. The player, believe, had blood on the uniform, so they try to clean that up.
That was very physical play before we had to take that break. A lot of contact there. Again, Dua falling into Xavier Anderson, who fell into a Martinsburg teammate. So a lot of contact there. But I tell you what, this has been a very high-level basketball game defensively. There's been some physicality on loose ball rebounds, but only one foul apiece in this entire second quarter. So it's been a very clean but physical game. Not a lot of turnovers. I love to see this kind of basketball, especially in a first-round matchup with a 1-8 seed.
Your Spring Mills, the 1 seed. You've beaten Martinsburg twice this year. At what point are you concerned by the score being as tight as it is?
Let's say if you're Spring Mills, you've been through the gauntlet. So even if you're not winning immediately big, you're fine with that. Spring Mills is very patient. They're confident. Now, if this is still the case in the fourth quarter, yeah, then you maybe think a little bit about, okay, this is going to get closer.
So we have a blood jersey situation. Caleb Thomas wearing 24. So Thomas was wearing 3 earlier. I guess he had some blood or substance on that. So Thomas now wearing 24. He scores just as well as when he was 3.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what number it is.
Contact inside away from the play.
I think they had.
They whistled that one on
Shipley.
Yeah, Chase Shipley.
And again, I think just got tied up during a screen and then fell forward and got into Bunny that time.
Martinsburg continuing to throw punch for punch with the top seed Spring Mills. Again, they've lost to Spring Mills twice this season. Battle tested. They've lost 4 of. As there's a steal coming the other way. Caleb Thomas can't finish. And they call a foul under the basket on Anthony Awuna.
Yeah, just a late whistle. If Awuna was going to attack him, you'd think he'd probably try to do it a little better. What he did was he did put his hand on the back of Thomas. As you watch right here, you see that, just a little bit of a shove on the back. Not a ton of contact, but maybe enough to draw that foul on Awuna.
Most importantly, he denied the basket. So Caleb Thomas wearing number 24, if you're just tuning in, made him change that at a timeout about a minute ago. And the same end result happens. He gets 2 points for Spring Mills. Has to earn them the hard way. The lead's at 28-24. Really good first half for Martinsburg. What do you do to cap it here?
Well, you got to keep care of the basketball. You know that Spring Mills is going to up the intensity defensively here. I don't know if they're going to work for a final shot yet. Maybe they do.
Spring Mills on a 6-0 run. Martinsburg can't stop it there. Myers with a miss, gets it tipped back out to him.
Well, that's a huge offensive rebound for the Bulldogs. And now, 23 seconds, you probably work for the final shot opportunity.
Bulldogs haven't scored in over 2 minutes, and a foul called away from the basket. And that'll be Keyshawn Cheek.
First foul on Cheek. Just trying to set a good hard screen here. But you see, got a little bit of that shoulder bump into.
I would say he succeeded on the hard part.
Yeah.
A lot of contact there. And a timeout here for Spring Mills. Shannon Layton wants to draw something up and use that timeout in the huddle. 15.5 to go, and that's the advantage. If you're Spring Mills, you get that foul, you get the ball back, and now you've got time to grow your 4-point lead.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you want to keep your cool if you're Martinsburg. That time, Cheek just lost himself a little bit there and wanted to get a little too physical. But that gives Spring Mills a big opportunity here to make it a 6-point lead. That's as large a lead they've had so far in the first half. But again, I don't think Spring Mills gets too fired up about this right now. I think they're really settled in the way they're playing, even though I love the way Martinsburg is attacking this ball game. They're trying to slow everything down.
Caleb Thomas with a game-high 12 points for Spring Mills. And for Martinsburg, Zion Ajamandua with 11 points. Those are the guys that are getting it done today. Winner moves on to the semis Friday morning, 11:15 a.m. between either Spring Valley or Woodrow Wilson. That's the 9 o'clock game tonight. And in between that, we got a really good AAA matchup tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're looking forward to a great evening with that AAA matchup coming up. Shady Spring, Robert C. Byrd. You can never count out the Eagles in a ball game.
Final 10 seconds of the second quarter. Here's a deep three. Apoko Achampong misses. They get it back. He gets another attempt. Misses wide left. Pulled down by Anderson. The putback doesn't fall. No chance for a rebuttal for Martinsburg. Wide and short anyway. And the lead stays at 28-24 for the top-seeded Spring Mills Cardinals as we go to the locker room at halftime in what's been a physical and what's been a fast-paced and what's been a very good game of basketball here in this Class 4A quarterfinal. 28-24 at the half. You're watching back at the Charleston Coliseum in the 1-versus-8 quarterfinal in Class 4A. Spring Mills, the 1 seed, in there with a 4-point lead. Eric Little, Andrew Miller here from the Charleston Coliseum. Your first half impressions is Spring Mills getting in a pretty tough fight, blow for blow with Martinsburg.
Well, as we said, these two teams have faced off twice in the regular season. They know each other well, and that usually leads to a better performance from the team that has lost the first two. Martinsburg has a really good plan coming in, but again, a good plan is only a good plan unless you can go out on the floor and make it happen. Martinsburg, I think, did a good job throughout that first half. They had a few opportunities to try to run and gun. They did not do it. They backed off. They slowed this game down. They held the Cardinals to 28 at the half. That's way under their average for the season, so that's one half of it. If Martinsburg's other half is you got to score. And in the first quarter, they shot it at 67%, got it inside. They looked really good in the first half. 7 turnovers, but they didn't have much problem with that, just 8 points off turnovers. So I think Martinsburg played about as well as you can play in that first half. But again, Spring Mills is the number 1 seed for a reason. They've been through a gauntlet this year. They're not going to freak out because of a close halftime. I think both teams just playing at a really high level.
Spring Mills has that 6-point lead. That's their biggest lead. They got that midway through the second quarter. Martinsburg actually led in this game after Spring Mills jumped out to a pretty quick start. So the fact that Martinsburg has led this game, I think that gave them just a bit of a taste of, hey, we can do this.
Yeah, you know, Ajamandua, it was just an absolute animal in that first half. 3 of 3 from 3. He did not miss a shot the entire first half, and that third one gave them that first lead. And again, you just got to get a little confidence if you're an 8th seed coming down here. You rarely have a chance to win, but I do feel, just watching how that first half played out, Martinsburg's got a chance to stay close here.
Zion Adjumandua with 3 of Martinsburg's 4 trays, and as a result of those 4 trays, in part, they're within 4. Spring Mills, the top seed, is a 4-point lead on the Bulldogs. Back in Charleston, 28-24, your halftime score. Take a look at some of these team stats. Martinsburg shooting 50% from the field early on and 80% from beyond the arc. A big reason, really 2 big reasons why they're in this game as much as they have been.
Absolutely, and again, a lot of that's coming at the hands of Adjumandua, who had a great first half. But again, they got in the lane early, hit some shots around the rim, a couple of nice hook shots. But again, Spring Mills also shooting the ball well, getting into the paint, shooting the ball around the rim a good bit. You're going to have high percentages when that happens. Both teams cooled off a bit in the second, right around 37%, but still high-level basketball in that first half.
How about that goose egg in the free throw column for Martinsburg? A little surprised the Bulldogs didn't wind up at the line at all in the first half.
Well, this was a clean first half. There wasn't a lot of fouls to be given on either side, so just a couple of free throws for the Spring Mills Cardinals. And Martinsburg, even though they got in the paint, Spring Mills just wasn't fouling, so it's just one of those things.
I feel like you get that a lot in the 5:30 game in any session here. There's just that little feeling out period. It's early evening. It's not when you're used to playing, and it's not a morning game, but you just don't quite know what you're going to get. Keys to the second half for Spring Mills and for Martinsburg.
Well, I think Spring Mills has to continue to do what they're doing, stay patient with it, try to speed up Martinsburg a little bit. Martinsburg, keep doing what you're doing, keep making shots.
Keep making shots, and the longer you hang in there, the more of a chance you've got as this thing goes down the stretch. Martinsburg trying to knock off the top seed in Class 4A, while Spring Mills tries to complete the trilogy and move on to Friday's semifinals. At the half, from the Charleston, we've mined a pretty good basketball game here tonight. How about this one?
Absolutely.
The number 1 seed, Spring Mills, on the ropes a bit against their Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference rival, the number 8 seed in this tournament. You got 2 teams from the Eastern Panhandle, and here they are in the capital city. We drug them out of the Panhandle, we brought them here, and we put on this nice stage for them.
Well, the question is, can Martinsburg continue to shoot hot here in this game? Can they stay in front of Spring Mills and keep Spring Mills from scoring?
A turnover from the jump, behind the back dish, and they can't complete it. Boy, and then they steal it right back. I was going to say you have to go straight to the rack with that. You can't go too razzle-dazzle.
How many times, though, has Kevin Myers made a big play for Martinsburg? He ripped that away, stole another basketball, and gave a chance for Martinsburg.
A recurring theme in the first half was the play of Myers.
Got 3 rebounds and 3 assists, and then, of course, those little plays, those 50-50 balls that you don't see those in the stat sheet.
Fouls on Caleb Thomas. If you're just joining us, they made Caleb Thomas change out of his number 3. He's wearing the number 24 for Spring Mills, a blood jersey issue. So he is in 24 if you're a Spring Mills fan just watching and wondering, hey, where's Caleb Thomas, and who's this 24 guy? Well, there's your answer to both those questions.
And he scored. It didn't matter what jersey it was. 12 points to lead all scorers. 5 of 7 shooting in that first half. Meanwhile,
he's like Michael Jordan, 23, 45, doesn't matter.
Meanwhile, Adjumandua with 11 on 4 of 5 shooting. He was perfect 3 for 3 in that first half from behind the 3-point line.
Martinsburg had a chance off the turnover to score. They couldn't do it. We'll see if they can get this out of a slowed down half-court set. It's Myers with it in his hands a minute into the quarter.
You saw Shipley jump out there on Adjumandua outside the 3-point line. Spring Mills has gotten wise to that fact.
Myers is swatted by Caleb Thomas. He waited a long time to turn the corner, and then Thomas swatted him away, and in transition, a held ball. They got on top of it as he was driving to the basket.
Well, that was some tremendous defense in transition by Martinsburg. You're going to see this huge swat, and then Thomas attacking. He tried to split a couple defenders, and good transition defense. Guess who's in there? That time it was
Keyshawn Cheek that time. So Martinsburg on the held ball. They've got the arrow. Cheek. The dish outside. Adjumandua airballs the 3. Not quite the touch he had in the first half from beyond the arc.
Well, and I'm not even sure if Xavier Anderson may not have gotten just a tip of that ball. He closed out on the shot attempt very nicely.
Spring Mills back in transition. Shipley with 4 points in the game. Dishes it outside. Xavier Anderson wants Shipley to come his way, doesn't get it. Turns the other direction. Lokai Smith comes inside. There's Anderson off the window. Lead stretched back to 6.
A good fundamental play on that drive and dish. A little pick and roll action. And a good pump fake that time by Anderson to get the defender up.
Anthony Awuna on the right wing. Bunny up top, gets a screen. Stops. Cheek to the cup. Off the iron and in. Keyshawn Cheek keeps the Bulldogs back within 4. Spring Mills has never been at a lead of greater than 6.
I tell you, Martinsburg, they came to battle here tonight. What a play by Cheek that time. He adjusted, put the ball in his left hand, and shot it up with the left hand, kept it on rim.
All by his lonesome. Akwesi Apoku Achampong.
His second 3 of the ball game. That was a tremendous pass by Anderson. Went diagonal out to that right corner.
There's that biggest lead of the night for Spring Mills. Martinsburg to answer, offline. A big one and done for Spring Mills. Here's Shipley back in transition, lost it, and it's Martinsburg's ball.
And just kicked it off of his own foot. A couple misses early here in the second by Ajimandua. He's got to settle himself down, not try to force the issue. He'll get the shots.
Of these two teams, you'd have to think all the pressure's on Spring Mills.
Trying to beat a team for 3 straight times in the season. And again, the bullseye's on their back. They're a 1 seed.
Myers out of trouble. Ajimandua off the dribble. Ajimandua, strong. Gets it back. Rejected by Thomas. Spring Mills back the other way. Thomas whips it under the basket, but it's stolen away by Bunny. They're looking for U. Smith.
Play a little free safety back there.
So was Thomas, and a foul called. He makes the steal. Fouls on Anthony Awuna.
Boy, Thomas has just got such good court instinct. He saw that coming back. After delivering a pass of his own that was ill-advised, he was able to get that ball back quickly, and then a foul whistled. By the way, that foul on Awuna is his 3rd.
So 3 on Anthony Awuna, the first real foul trouble we see on either side tonight.
As we said, it's been a relatively clean ball game.
And Akwesi Apoku Achampong finishes at the window. Well, he slipped in behind everybody, and Spring Mills all of a sudden stretches their lead to 9.
While the Bulldogs asking themselves and looking at each other saying, who let him go?
Dave Rogers is going to ask the same question in this timeout. He wants to know why himself. 4:04 to go, 3rd quarter. Well, timeout on the floor. 35-26. Spring Mills with their biggest lead of the night. You're watching the 2025 West Virginia State Basketball Championship. Home in the 3rd quarter of this 1 versus 8 Class 4A quarterfinal between the 21-1 Spring Mills Cardinals, winners of 8 straight, and the 12-7 Martinsburg Bulldogs.
Just a quick 5-0 run by Spring Mills. A couple things happening during that. Obviously, a turnover again taken back by Caleb Smith. Missed opportunity for Martinsburg after they stole it. And then, of course, you found Apoku Achampong for another 3. And then a miscommunication defensively, obviously, by the Bulldogs, leading him to a wide-open layup.
Suffocating defense for Spring Mills. Ajimandua lost it, and it's back with Spring Mills.
Again, some miscommunication as Garrett Height was initially looked like he was going to go on a back cut. And Ajimandua threw it there for that back cut.
And Height leaves as Anthony Awuna comes back on. They buy him a few extra minutes with the media timeout. So a bit of an extra break, even though he only misses about 30 seconds of game time. Cheek, nice spin move to the cup, and he can't finish. Pulled down by Awuna and a floor foul called.
Looks like they're going to get
I believe
that
that's
one.
Caleb Thomas.
Yeah, I believe so. Be number 2 on Thomas.
You know, he might have points in both 3 and 24, but those fouls have both come in 24.
Yeah, both of them. Well, I do like that Martinsburg's on the offensive glass. They didn't do a very good job of that in the first half.
Now we got a foul before the inbound, and Martinsburg's going to get this one back.
Take a look at this.
Cheek gives up the foul.
Just a little shove there on Xavier Anderson. Two cheapies picked up by Cheek here in the ball game.
Team foul situation, 2 apiece. They come up on the 3-minute mark in the third quarter. Spring Mills by 9. They've not led by double figures all game long, looking to win their 9th straight and advance to the semifinals. Opoku Achampong comes outside. Booth Smith. There's Thomas with the touch. Spring Mills looking for something good. Booth Smith in traffic, hit hard, and the foul.
And I think that one may be Cheek as well. If so, he has just picked up his third.
And they've all come in fairly quick succession.
Yep, they're going to get that one on Keyshawn Cheek. Again, he was coming in and helped defense, just moved forward a little too much on the jump and got that body contact. That was a good job by Booth Smith, though, creating that contact. Kind of jumped into the lane there offensively.
That's just Spring Mills' second miss from the free throw line of the night. The 5 of 7. We still have yet to see Martinsburg try a free throw. And we have under 3 minutes to go in our third quarter.
Martinsburg in the midst of a 3-minute scoring drought right now.
Booth Smith makes up for it on the back end. Spring Mills 6 of 8, been a bit of a saving grace. And for the first time tonight, a double-digit lead in this one as the Cardinals have gone up by 10 on the Bulldogs.
Get the feeling this is a very critical moment. If you're Martinsburg, you got to get a score.
Driving. There it is, Zion Ajamandua. Who else?
They've been held in check with a couple misses from long range, so he says, why not? I'm going to take it inside.
It's very unscientific, but Andrew, I feel like Martinsburg's got to get this down to 5 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you know, you see Spring Mills' confidence continuing to develop here. So if you're Martinsburg, you need a stop and a bucket here late.
Xavier Anderson looks inside. It's deflected away. There's the steal. Here's Kyrie Bunny to the rack, and it's too strong. There have been so many of those where they get that steal, but they just can't finish in transition on the other end. Anderson hit and fouled by Keyshawn Cheek, and that's a 4th on Cheek.
He's picked up 3 of the 4 in this quarter alone, and all 3 have come in the last 2.5 minutes. Again, he was just challenging right there.
And you can't blame him there because you're trying to deny Spring Mills from a surge and a run. Not the guy that you wanted to see pick up that foul if you're Dave Rogers. And the free throw's in and out from Anderson.
Obviously, they're going to get Cheek out of the ball game. They'll bring Garrett Height back in. But again, as we said it, they need to cut it with a stop and a bucket. They got the steal. And again, I think it was a smart play to try to go with the reverse there because Caleb Thomas is a rim protector.
Anderson misses a pair, and Spring Mills gets it back as Martinsburg fumbled the bag.
Well, Ajamandua frustrated with himself. He just couldn't grab a hold of that basketball.
Max Anderson will trigger the inbound. Lob almost into our laps.
I was prepared. I got domed in a pregame with Logan and Wyoming East last night.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, right in the side of the noggin.
Right off the side of the window, Opoku Achampong. Lead back to 10 for Spring Mills. Must have possession here from Martinsburg. Height from the corner, buries the triple. Had to have it, and they got it.
They are 5 of 7 from long range, and that is one thing that is helping keep them in this ball game.
The Garrett Height advantage. Tyler Jones and the Spring Mills bench answers the Martinsburg bench.
Well, that's a smart play, the pump fake and drive, and it's soft touch from 14.
There's Height again. Shoves it outside for Bunny. On the baseline, Owona thought he stepped out of bounds, but the official on the baseline says he was fouled on the baseline.
And that is going to be Caleb Thomas's third little bump on the baseline.
You're just joining us, Caleb Thomas, or Spring Mills wearing 24 instead of his usual 3. They made him change that because of some substances on that jersey, some blood. Height off the handoff. In the lane, Garrett Height with 5 quick bench points for the Martinsburg Bulldogs.
All right, providing a spark late here in the third.
Out of a double team, Anderson almost threw it away. Thomas finds it, and a good lay-in for Caleb Thomas.
Boy, that was so close for Kyrie Bunny. Again, a smart move not to foul Thomas. You don't want to make a 2 or 3 opportunity.
Half a minute to go in the third. Spring Mills, the top seed, up 9. Martinsburg will very likely hold for the final shot. Where do you go if you're Martinsburg?
I got to say you go with Ajimon Dua.
I know Height's been the hot hand of late. We'll see what he does off the dribble.
Oh, we got a shove off ball.
I'm going to call that against Xavier Anderson. Team fouls 4 apiece here in the quarter. It's number 2 on Xavier Anderson. See an inbounds play with 9.4 to go. Height out front. Thought he was going to pop it there. Myers. Someone's got to shoot. 2 to go. They heave it. Ajimandua, not a prayer. That was affected on its way up. And the lead for Spring Mills because of their good defensive stand from the Charleston Coliseum. Something to moo about. A 9-point lead for Spring Mills. 42-33. Eric Little, Andrew Miller, what jumps out at you from the stat sheet after 3 quarters?
Spring Mills was perfect in that quarter, 6 of 6. But Martinsburg is shooting the 3 well enough to hang in here. Just one quick double-digit lead for Spring Mills. And then a big 3 by Height off the bench. He'll start the 4th quarter here. Of course, you got the 4 fouls on Cheek, who is back in. He's got to be careful.
Garrett Height has been a big pick-me-up for Martinsburg in the back half of the third, and they needed him to be. And Keyshawn Cheek, as you said, with those 4 fouls back on the floor, lead back to double figures, and it's at 11 on a bucket from Akwesi Apoku Achampong.
He has really gotten things going here in the second half. Hit that big 3 earlier in the quarter on the third, but he's been to the lane a bunch.
And a rejection. Xavier Anderson swats Keyshawn Cheek. Martinsburg's got to have something here to cut this back to single digits. Zion Ajimandua with 13 points leads Martinsburg. Cheek spins, dishes. There's Ajimandua. Hop step. He comes back outside. Bunny dishes to the corner. Out of control. Cheek kicks it to the wing. And an airball 3 hauled in by Max Anderson.
That offensive set looked like it was in trouble from the beginning.
And a timeout called by Spring Mills.
Early timeout.
That possession was in trouble from the beginning. Spring Mills up 11, looking to move on to the semis. It's the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. This one's been anything but smooth. 44-33, Spring Mills and Martinsburg in a physical matchup.
A very physical matchup, and I tell you what, something obviously touched Coach Shannon late in the wrong way. When you call a timeout a minute into the 4th, he did not like what he was seeing early.
Caleb Thomas with 14 points to lead Spring Mills, and Zion Ajimandua with 13 for Martinsburg.
Really impressed with Garrett Height coming off the bench. He's played well. 5 points off the bench, all in that 3rd quarter, and then made a big play there to deflect that ball out of bounds.
Anderson comes outside. Apoku Achampong with space. The floater falls for Akwesi Apoku Achampong.
Well, he has been dominant in the second half to the rim.
Martinsburg needs something here. They're down by 13, their biggest deficit of the ball game. Bunny to the lane. Owuna stopped. Where do you go here if you're Martinsburg?
I don't know. Height feels like he's got a hot hand.
Space for Bunny. Height pops. A little short. And a floor foul under the basket, or on the baseline rather. I think they're going to get Max Anderson with this.
Yeah, a little too physical in the box out.
That's his first.
Bunny, yeah. So Height was the one that took the shot there. I think if you're Martinsburg right now, you've got to work the ball around like they did to get a 3. Otherwise, you've got to drive and find somebody in the paint. That's what started the good run in the 1st quarter.
Bunny with a nice find, but Owuna can't hang on. And a foul as Ajimandua tries to put it back in.
Well, Askanai shall receive there. They got it in the lane. Hated to see that for Owuna. Just lost the ball on the way up. But Ajimandu was in the right place at the right time.
He was wide open and a beautiful feed from Bunny, too.
A little bit of elbow contact on that foul by Xavier Anderson. We finally have Martinsburg shooting free throws.
First attempt of the game. And Zion Ajimandua is wide left with that.
I know we've said it here in the second half a couple times, but it seems like at this point for Martinsburg, each possession is very critical because you can see this game, if you don't get some points here, ballooning to 15 or 16 very quickly.
Yeah, you're right. This is the point of the game here where this could be over or a barn burner in about a minute and a half of game time.
We'll see what Martinsburg can do. They played good offense, or good on-ball defense throughout the ball game.
They just haven't hit enough shots.
Not yet.
From the corner, that could be the dagger from Tyler Jones.
His second three off the bench in the second half, and that is a killer.
A lead at 15 certainly has a different complexion than a 9-point lead.
If you're Martinsburg, you don't need to panic just yet. You just got to get some good looks and make them.
Bulldogs just 40% from the field. Spring Mills 59% from the field in the ball game. From the baseline, Ajimandua follows a shot off the miss, and he's fouled. Open field tackle, I think, from Max Anderson. Second and 7 coming up.
Well, listen, Anderson is a lad. He is a big-sized kid at 6'2". I would imagine he is somebody he looks to me like he's a middle linebacker. That's what he looks like to me.
He's quarterback offensively.
Really?
He is a linebacker. He's a dual-threat quarterback in that Spring Mills offense.
A little bit of contact, a little bit of conversation here between the two schools that are very close in proximity. It stayed relatively clean throughout this, until right there, and they're going to get that one on Keyshawn Cheek, and that will be it for Cheek.
Was it Elvis Presley said, a little less conversation, a little more action?
Yeah.
That's finally what we're seeing here.
Yeah, a little too much action for Cheek that time.
But unfortunately, the loss of Cheek is a massive loss for a Martinsburg team that's down 15 with 5.5 to play.
Well, they'll be able to bring in, luckily, they'll have Kevin Myers back in the ball game, who has played well throughout the evening. But again, critical each and every possession.
Into the front court, here's Caleb Thomas. Cleared for takeoff. Height to answer, long. Kevin Myers has done it all outside. Ajimandua doesn't fall. Height gets in there. What a rebound for Height, but the putback doesn't go. Thomas rips it away. Inside 5 to go. Leads at 17. Make it 20.
Well, we thought the Tyler Jones three was a dagger. That one by Apoku Achimpong is an absolute killer for Martinsburg and a big play for the 5'11 junior.
Spring Mills keeps delivering coverage. Company-paid life insurance, prescription drug coverage, and a company-matching 401k plan. Affinity Coal Company. Spring Mills has had an affinity from beyond the arc. They've stretched the lead to 20. Martinsburg seeing the sands run out of the hourglass. Bunny follows his miss, gets it swatted on the second effort by Caleb Thomas.
Thomas now with 4 block shots in the ball game, but 2 dagger threes in the midst of an 8-0 run in the last minute for Spring Mills. One by Tyler Jones off the bench and another for Apoku Achimpong.
Too tall, but Spring Mills hit it last. I'll be honest, I'm surprised Martinsburg is shooting 34% from the field. I really didn't think they were shooting that well, and that's not to be cruel or mean about it. They just have not had shots fall.
Well, you can see around the rim, though, everything that was going in early in the ball game has not been dropping here in the second half.
Meanwhile, Spring Mills on an 8-0 run, as you mentioned.
And they're shooting 61% from the field.
A lot of contact there. Ajimandua brought to the ground. They call that on a quasi Apoku Achimpong. Tried to take the ball, but he had leverage.
Just the first foul on Apoku Achimpong, number 4 on Spring Mills.
Really, Ajimandua's weight kind of leaned into that one. Garrett Height with a spin, stripped. Saves with Martinsburg. He's been big off the bench, as we've talked about a few times for Martinsburg.
And Max Anderson getting a hand and deflect that out of bounds.
Myers out front. 34 points for the Bulldogs, half a quarter to go. Spring Mills defense probably needs some more credit than we're giving it as Myers hits the runner. We're talking a lot about how Martinsburg's not hitting shots, but they held Spring Mills to 34 and 45 respectively in the first two meetings. A travel called on Tyler Jones' transition run to the basket.
Well, he saw that open lane and he said, I got to get there fast. He said, why dribble? I just got to get there. Yeah, I think Spring Mills right now playing defensively in the half-court set has been fantastic. Martinsburg having a little more trouble getting open looks.
Again, you're a Martinsburg team. It's got a lot of athletes, but you've not scored 50 against these guys now in 3 tries. Anderson fouled. Tumbling head over heels.
They're going to get that one on Kyrie Bunny trying to get back in transition. Well, we've seen a couple of runouts lately. The slam by Caleb Thomas, you go back a couple of minutes ago. Really, Martinsburg at that point was down by 18, and they were trying to press full court. Everybody was in the front court, and a great play drawn up by Coach Shannon Layton. They just sit the guys down the floor, got Thomas wide open, and I think that really wasn't the nail so much, but it was mentally a big hurdle now for Martinsburg.
How about the stock of Shannon Layton rising? He's an interim coach. He has won 9 in a row after taking over for Luke Samples. Luke Samples is on administrative leave. Shannon Layton about to win his 10th straight in lieu of Luke Samples.
That's right. He took over during that Washington game right after the loss to Morgantown, and they got right back to it.
That's steady leadership right there. Almost a steal and a foul.
Well, too much body by Xavier Anderson.
Braden Harrison with the foul from Martinsburg. Today's live streaming coverage of the 2025 West Virginia Basketball Tournament is being presented by your local Little General Stores. Great price, convenient places. Your local Little General Stores.
Been very impressed with the offense here for Spring Mills. They've been relatively consistent. Hit a lull, Eric, in that second quarter a little bit. And I say a lull, they still shot 37%. But right now you look across their numbers, 61% from the field goals, or from the field, 57% from 3 now. They've only shot 7, but they've now made 4. And 58% from the line is the worst that they have.
A miss from Braden Harrison as Dave Rogers empties his bench a bit. See a lot of new faces for Martinsburg. This is a Martinsburg team that has quite a few seniors on this roster, so this is going to be a bit of a reloading effort for Dave Rogers next year.
Well, 4 starters are seniors. Of course, Bunny, Cheek, Owuna, and Ajimandua. So those are 4 big sets of holes to fill. Kevin Myers, the other starter, he was a freshman, so he'll be back for 3 years. Maybe you try to build around Myers here.
Boy,
We've seen how hard he's played.
We really liked what we saw out of Kevin Myers tonight. Just a lot of effort, always in the middle of things, in a good way. How about that? In a good way. Lokai Smith.
Smith been held in check throughout the nights. He's now got 3 points. He's got 6 points.
Braden Harrison with an answer for Martinsburg. He's a senior getting a state tournament moment. So for Martinsburg, it's a long bus ride back across the state. Spring Mill's going to stick around. I'd imagine they'll head out to get something to eat, and then they'll be back for the late game tonight. Apoku Achimpong buries a 3.
Well, it's been a tremendous second half for that young man. He's got 20. He leads all scorers now.
Spring Mills will play the winner of that last game tonight between Spring Valley and Woodrow Wilson. Off the foot of Harrison. Cleared for takeoff. We have liftoff.
Wow.
Lokai Smith with authority.
He wants to get his name in the stat book a little more here late. 5 quick points.
And a rejection at the cup. Owuna swatted. Shipley leaves it outside. Apoku Achimpong, strong. Baseball pass from Height. Broken up by Anderson.
I was looking at Poku Achimpong's stat line here throughout the night. I knew he struggled in the first half. I didn't realize he had just 3 points in the entire first half. He's got 17 here in the second half. In the second half, he has missed just 1 shot.
Uth Smith, I think, took off from the foul line.
He has got some leaps.
That shot's affected by Thomas. Inside 2 to play. It's a 23-point ball game. Thomas through the defenders, tipped around, and Martinsburg swats him.
Thomas has got 5 blocked shots in the game now.
A runner strong from Jay-Sean Dirting. The Spring Valley, again, has vested interest in the 9 o'clock game tonight. Coming up next, it's Robert C. Byrd, Shady Spring. 2 really, really solid Class AAA programs. That's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that second match up here in just a minute. Spring Mills just kind of dribbled this thing out now. Yeah, you got a 4-5 matchup coming up tonight, and the winner of that game will face this Spring Mills team in the semifinals.
You got to love the state tournament if you've got the time to come down and spend. This is a great way to spend a week.
A lot of people here for the evening session, too. Like to see the numbers.
Apoku Achimpong finishes at the window. 22 points for Kwesi Apoku Achimpong. 16 for Caleb Thomas. Zion Ajman-Dua with 14 to lead Martinsburg.
Now, of course, he came in here ready to help his team out, and he did help them stay close.
Jay-Sean Dirting buries a 3. So he gets his moment as well. Spring Mills into the front court, and that's all we're going to see of this when the Spring Mills Cardinals pushed to the brink early on by Martinsburg, but they hang on for a 22-point win. They've won 3 this season against the Martinsburg Bulldogs, and this one sends them to the state semifinals. Your final score from the Charleston Coliseum: Spring Mills 65, Martinsburg 43. We'll wrap it up, take on either Spring Valley or Woodrow Wilson, a 22-point winner over Martinsburg. Eric Little, Andrew Miller courtside, wrapping things up from the WVSSAC boys basketball tournament. And the shooting for Spring Mills in the second half, the story of this one.
Unbelievable. We didn't know how good it actually was because it just got kind of lost. 15 of 17 in the second half. That's good for about 90% in the second half alone. Just a great performance. Again, a lot of that inside, but not all of it. They shot great from 3 in the second half as well. And just able to manage that second half so well that Martinsburg didn't shoot well enough to stay in it.
As a result, Spring Mills shoots 62% from the field in the game, buoyed in large part by that 15 of 17 performance after the half. Whatever Shannon Layton said in the halftime locker room, bottle it up and sell it, and you'll become a very rich individual.